All righty. Thank you so much for taking this interview. I have been excited and anticipating this day to talk to you. Just for the audience who may or may not know who you are Kalilah Wright, the founder of Mess in a Bottle. And what else would you like us to know about you, Kalilah?
I am, the owner of an apparel brand. We put messages on t-shirts and they come packaged in a reusable bottle. I'm a mom to a 7-year-old son, and I am a woman that made something out of nothing.
That's awesome. So, a lot of us know you as Kalilah, Mess in a Bottle, but I, of course, reading on you, I want to talk about the Kalilah that started the Cool Club.
Yeah, I mean, to be very honest, Kalilah, who started the Cool Club, is the same Kalilah. I'm definitely a person that is very, like I was always very rambunctious, fun, out there, had a lot of personality, even, in junior high school. And so I think that has really transitioned to now, who I am as an adult.
Would you always say you were an entrepreneur?
I would. I think I was always a person like trying to figure out different ideas, trying to make the best out of, nothing at times. And, I think that to me, an entrepreneur is like sort of it's a firefighter and, it's a person that's always putting out the fires. And so I think I've always been really savvy and I've been putting out fires for quite some time now.
That's a good way, a good illustration, a good analogy. I've never
Hmm.
heard anybody refer to entrepreneurship as firefighting, but that's certainly absolutely
Yeah.
true. I mean, we run into the problem and we're the people that try to problem solve for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that, one of the best like characteristics, in regards to being an entrepreneur is kind of being able to shift, pivot, change, resolve,
Mhm.
problem solving is super big in entrepreneurship. And I feel like those who survive are the ones who can think fast on their toes.
Absolutely. So tell me about the day you woke up and decided this is it. This is what I want to do. I want to own an apparel brand.
I think that the idea sort of gradually, sort of was kind of coming into my mind. Like I was working for a sports apparel brand as an architect,
Mhm.
and I just knew that I had a bigger purpose. There was something that I was trying to, accomplish and do. And I think literally one day I did wake up and decide, I was just like, I think I just wanted to chase my dream. I wasn't 100% sure what that was and what that looked
Mhm.
like. But eventually, I think that it just sort of manifested, created, molded itself into something amazing.
So did you jump right in? Were you just cold turkey quit your job, went straight to entrepreneur, or were you like many other people who are 9 to 5ers and entrepreneurs?
I cold turkey went from working at an apparel brand straight into working for myself, 100%. And so, I mean, I probably went like maybe a year of like doing little things, like while at my 9 to 5. But
Hmm.
when I finally like 100% decided to go into entrepreneurship, I did leave my full-time job.
That's awesome. So you were recently, Mess was recently in Target, and I sent pictures, and my grandson had on T-shirts and everything. It was just an amazing feeling. So can you tell me about how you felt, the emotions when you walked into Target and you saw your picture and you saw your brand and you actually saw your dream in a major retailer?
I don't even know if it's fully hit me, the way that I have my moments.
Yes.
And I think, if anybody knows what it feels like to be in church and to, raise your hand and just like, really feel praise. And, so that's how I feel every now and then, like the Holy Ghost, as they, like something hits
Yes.
me. And I definitely rejoice because I think it's definitely something that for years I've cried about. I wanted something and I knew there was something and I might not have been 100% sure what that something was. And
Right.
so like, that feeling that, overwhelm of emotion that like you did it feeling, it
Yes.
really just feels like a praise because there's just no other feeling. Like, no matter what else I think happens in my journey, like I'll always remember that feeling.
So is it kind of like shock waves, ripple effects? Like one day it'll just kind of hit you.
Yeah, I think it's things that will happen and it'll dawn on me like, oh, do like it'll be a feeling. So I could bump into somebody and they'll say like, oh, are you the person from, or even just right now, like you said, your grandson, or, somebody will send me like an amazing picture of like their children or themselves in the brand and, or a really sweet message of like, you've really transformed my life or your message really resonated. I needed your message on this day, so there's just several ways that where it hits you and like there's just this overwhelming emotion. And it's just like, wow, like everything you prayed about, wanted, is now like really
Yes.
came into life. So it is a beautiful thing.
That's awesome. So that was obviously a very high for your, for your brand and for, something that you literally probably sat back and thought about one day, I'm going to do something big and then bam, there it is. But can you
Hmm.
talk about like the day that you wanted to quit? Give us a time. I'm sure there's been more than one time, but a time when you just want to say, you know what, I'm done.
And quit messing about. I mean, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. About yesterday, what happened about earlier today, what happened was, no, you know what, it's definitely my passion. It's definitely like joy. And I mean, just like, my 7-year-old son, like sometimes you're gonna want to strangle it or you don't want it or
Yes.
you're mad at it. But at the end of the day, when you really love someone, I mean, and love something, you know how hard it is that you actually have to like work for it. And so
Hmm.
I think about entrepreneurship and I think about just this company is it's gonna be one of those things that's definitely gonna make me, love hard and cry harder sometimes.
Yeah.
And I know it's just a part of it.
So before mess in the bottle became this wonderful thing that it is today, what did it look like? What did you envision? What was in your maybe on your vision board, your sketch pad? What did it look like before we ended up with being in Target today?
I sketched out my logo, I sketched out my vending machine idea, I sketched out, there was many different things. I mean, and it's still like, things are unfolding from us in a bottle. And so,
Hmm.
I think that it just really looked like this t-shirt company with people talking about the messages and spreading the message. And that's truly what it's become.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of celebrities and people tagged wearing your stuff, and I'm always like, that's so dope. But who do you want to see in your product? Do you have a list of people you want to see?
I mean, I'm a big fan of course, like a Tracy Ellis Ross,
Oh
maybe,
yes.
yeah, Gabrielle Union. There's a lawyer, Natasha Maine. She's definitely a person that I would love to see in it. And also, who was I just thinking about that I would love? I mean, there's endless celebrities that
Right?
I'm like, of course, if a Rihanna or, I love Beyonce, but I'm more of a Jay-Z fan. I think if Jay-Z and like Diddy were messing a bottle,
Yes.
they're so New York, I wouldn't even know what to do with myself. So, I think that's definitely a plug, and I would be really accomplished and feeling
Oh,
accomplished.
for
That happens.
sure. For sure. That is so dope. I'm also a Tracy Ellis Ross fan. So yes, Rainbow Johnson forever.
Yes.
So what do you do to check in on yourself? I know a lot of people talk about self-care. How do you check in on Kalilah to make sure you're good? Because I know that, being an entrepreneur is so consuming. You can literally get lost in your business. So how do you check in on you and make sure you're good?
I often run, so I run about three plus miles every couple of days
Mhm.
of the week. And anytime I see things getting too chaotic, I sort
Mhm.
of have to stop, recalibrate, reset, and and I have a therapist as well. I think it's important
Shout
to
out
have
to
a
that.
professional, yeah, that you talk to. But that's it. I really keep it. I keep checking in with myself and just to make sure like I'm good.
That's awesome. So my next question is, what has been your biggest challenge, one of your greatest challenges as a Black creative?
I think one of the biggest challenges is that I don't want to work this hard. And I think that, at the end of the day, like, I think, it's realizing not everybody is working as hard. And so,
Mm,
I think for me, it's just one of those things where I'm learning to work smarter and not as hard.
mhm,
And just, I guess, and also on the flip side, embrace being a Black designer and like what that means to the world, and like the amazingness that I am bringing and
mhm,
giving to the world and what that means. I think, once you tap into that superpower a little bit, you understand that it's actually an asset. And
mhm.
so been using it as such.
We live in a society now where, the word entrepreneur has just been made to be sexy and it's been glorified. But like you said, it's a lot of hard work. And
Hmm.
I appreciate you stating that I don't want to work this hard.
Hmm. I
So,
don't. Mm-mm.
gi- could you give some advice or some a tip that you wish someone had told you when you started Mess?
A tip that a big tip would be that I don't have to be a solopreneur and a sole founder of the
Mm,
company. I mean, I don't regret my journey in any way. And it's not to say if you add somebody that it will actually alleviate some of the stress, but at
mhm,
least it will be something where, you can kind of give someone else a little bit of the load to carry. So I
mhm,
think that, but a lot of the times, people think getting their way to the $1 million mark, that it has to be done by themselves. And reality of it is that it can be done with a partner, and you both can carry the bucket to the well, and and
Oh, that's
carry the
good.
weight of the water. Yeah.
That's good.
And so right now I teach like tea courses, and one of the first thing I ask is like, do you think you need a co-founder?
Mm,
Being realistic with your time and your availability, and even if you do it by yourself, like, is this something where it might take you 10 years to get there, where if you had a co-founder and someone that's like strategically working, you could get
yeah.
there in 2 to 3 years, and and it won't feel as heavy. So I think that's the advice I would give.
I'm glad you mentioned your tea class. Can you tell people about that?
Sure. Yeah. So we have a t-shirt course. It's called the tclass.com. And so, we teach people how to start and create their own t-shirt company. But I think even more importantly, it's really about business. Like, I am
Mhm.
teaching people how to start businesses and how to create a business.
How important do you think it is for Black women in particular to show up in places? Now, I like I said, entrepreneurship has just kind of become a sexy buzzword. But uh, what's your take on just representation from us?
Yeah. What I think is that we definitely are thinking way too small. We're
Mm,
also not thinking, to me, in the right areas that we should be thinking in. There's just a lot of room for us in like tech spaces and in like other, spaces that I think a lot of people are just really not taking advantage of yet.
mhm.
So I think that it's important for us to like stop thinking small, stop thinking mom and pop, and for us to like go after some things that I think that we can do if we actually tried in those areas.
Oh, that's awesome. Are there any ones that you want to throw out? I know you threw out tech space, but I totally agree with you on the thinking too small, just not dreaming big enough. And also speaking to the fact that even though somebody else may be doing that particular thing, that there's still room for you.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, I think there's just a lot of fields or spaces within spaces.
Mm,
So if you're interested in the beauty industry, are you thinking of like the chemical, like the formulas, or the science part of it, and just really thinking a little bit beyond, what the surface thing is. I just think that there's a lot of spaces that we can explore, but because
mhm.
sometimes we're not, where we don't have the exposure in the field, or everybody's pushing sometimes the same type of product, and they don't
True.
really think outside of the box.
That's true. That's so insightful because regardless to what business it is, you'd have to think that, there are layers. So what's the layer, or what's the place in that sector that we haven't occupied or that we haven't even considered?
Right.
And that's honestly, when you think about it, it's kind of sad that we
Hmm.
we stop at surface and not try to dig a little bit deeper.
But you know what that is? I mean, it happens, it's because of like just history. it's because of like spaces that, even the entrepreneur space, we're now being told it's okay for us to like take up room and be a owner and own our own stuff. So I mean, I think it's really about history and like us, like we were placed in a place where we were told we shouldn't become this thing, So I think that now that we are at a place where we're actually exploring and opening up more and, you know, digging deep where we have like little young black girls who are like, I want to be a chemical engineer. I want to
Yeah.
be a, civic, whatever. So I think that those things are starting to happen. So I think the more that we're just encouraging of seeing, Black women, especially specifically in those spaces, the more that they'll start showing up.
Wow, that's great. So just to segue into this, what is a glass ceiling that you want to see shattered? I mean, we got the female vice president now, not the highest, but the second highest elected official. What's something that you've been thinking about seeing, finally seeing this glass ceiling shattered?
I mean, definitely in the architecture space, as well as just again continue it in like just some boardrooms. Like we have a lot of spaces, even as an entrepreneur, in which like white men are gatekeepers. And so the thing is, the boardrooms are still not filled with us. And
Mm,
so even if we are becoming entrepreneurs, like even if you think, and even like thinking about capital and exposure to capital, to take my business to the next space, it's going to require some
hmm.
type of money, like real,
Right.
some type of investment. And the people that are in that space mostly are white men. And so,
Mhm.
it does become that thing where it's just like, if we aren't occupying and being in those spaces, then we're still going to be shut out.
Wow. So true. So yesterday was International Women's Day. I know that you did your interview with the Jamaican news outlet.
Hmm.
Shouts out to you for that. Um, I interviewed Judge Lynn Toler last month, and I asked her if she could give a gift to every woman, what would it be? So I want to ask you that same question with yesterday being International Women's Day and us celebrating diversity and sisterhood and everything. What's a gift that you would want to gift every single woman?
I would continue to gift them a message in a bottle. I mean, I think that the 310 BC concept of receiving a message in the ocean,
Hmm.
I think is really what our company is rooted on. So I could only imagine if you gift even a stranger like a signature message and for them to know, I'm wearing one today as strong as the women next to me. And that is, one of our powerful,
Yes.
empowering messages that we continue to spread. So I would just say, receiving a message in a bottle is what I would give every woman.
I love that message. Is so simplistic. I'm as strong as the woman beside me. Who are some strong women that you look to or have looked to?
I mean, mentors like Nicole Walters. I have Lovey Ajayi. Even the
Lovey's
budgetnista
dope.
Tiffany. Yeah, there's a Lena Waithe, Yvonne
Yeah,
Orji.
she's
There's a
dope too.
lot of amazing women. I think that continue to inspire, continue to push me forward, and Bazoma St. John. So a lot of great women.
Awesome. So what's your day to day look like, Kalilah, in your business, the running of your business?
Mhm. I mean, the day to day is so flexible because some days it could be I'm at home working with my son. Some days
Hmm.
it could be I'm in shop, with my team. So it's all over, but it's pretty consistent for the most part.
Cool. So we're almost done. I told you I wouldn't be long. So finish this statement. Entrepreneurship is not.
For the faint of heart.
I get that a lot. I get that a lot. And I agree.
Yeah.
It's totally not.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I just think that the whole thing about working for yourself and setting your own schedule has just been glamorized so much, but there's so much to it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So what was your favorite quarantine meal when we first went in quarantine? I'm gonna ask some easy questions now.
Mm-hmm. I'll do tuna. Something
Tuna,
easy. Yeah, some tuna. So I had like tuna and I make it with relish and cranberries and I put all onion, red onion.
cranberries.
Cranberries. Oh, I love a
So is
sweet
this just
tuna.
like with crackers or
Yeah. Hmm.
okay? Because most of my tuna is either like a sandwich.
Sandwich. Oh, no, mine's with crackers.
So you don't do tuna sandwiches.
Mm-mm.
No,
Mm-mm.
okay. I might have to throw some cranberries. I've had cranberries
Yes.
chicken salad, but never tuna.
Yep. And relish and just, ooh, yeah.
Mhm. So if you can share something, what's a mess in your life right now that you're working on?
Definitely my son. I think that at 7, I could be a handful with like, ensuring that I'm giving him my attention. So I think in
Awesome.
that area it's a mess and I'm trying to
Hmm.
help to get that not be a mess anymore.
Awesome. That's so nice of you to share that with us. Um, uh, just kind of piggybacking off of that, the work life balance. I mean, how is that working? How are you? How did that look as mess just increasingly becomes a bigger thing?
I mean, I think that, most people would say balance is, a little bit, it's a difficult thing to attain. And so I think for me, I just work wherever I can, do what I can. If I can run really fast, I run really fast. If I gotta slow down, slow down. So, I just go hard in the areas I can when I can.
Mhm. Are you teaching him the business?
He learns it. I mean, it's inevitable for him to pick it up and for him to ask questions. So,
Yes.
yeah.
What's your greatest joy?
Um, I love like seeing new things, travel, seeing new things. I mean, I love design. I love sitting, exploring, creating new things too. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
All right. Like I said, these are easy questions. What's a guilty pleasure you have?
Oh, food. It gotta be food. I love food, ice cream and rum and raisin and cakes and sweets. So
Do you,
definitely food.
do you cook and bake?
I do bake, no, cook, yes.
Cool. What's your best vacation?
Recently for my birthday. Well, I love South Africa, but I recently went to Joshua Tree for my birthday and it was pretty excellent.
I saw the pics. Was that your first time going?
It was.
Oh, awesome. My daughter used to live in California and we were talking about going there. And when I saw your pictures, I was like, dang, why didn't we do it? So
It's
that's
beautiful.
That's on my list. She talks about it. She absolutely loves it. She's been a couple times, but she
Yeah,
absolutely loves it. So that's on my list. And your pictures were lit. Looks like y'all had a lot of fun.
we did. It was great. It was
that's,
definitely good.
that's cool. What's the last thing you read or something you're reading now?
I read the 12-week year every first quarter of the year. And so that's what I'm reading right now.
And it's called the what?
The 12-week year.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it's a book about discipline,
I'm,
business.
I'm gonna write that down. 12-week
Yeah.
year.
Mhm.
Gotcha. All right. Last question. What gives you peace?
Running and just gaining clarity. So running, I think that's my place where I could find peace the most.
Did you develop a habit for running? I've always wanted to be a
Mhm.
runner, but I'll do more walking.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where you got to push yourself,
Mhm.
work really hard, and but I really do. I enjoy running.
It does give you a good headspace. It really,
Hmm.
really does. Just being out there, being alone with your headphones.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I know you got a 7-year-old waiting on you, but
You're very welcome.
yeah, I so appreciate the space and you sharing your time with the She Is family. And just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
All right.
having me.
Absolutely. Talk with you soon, Kalilah. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.